Good evening to those who actually jumped over from the interview with Paul and Vandy. Welcome to those that may be new here. Welcome. If you fell out of the clouds, as they say, welcome. Please like and subscribe. So we'll get started in about a minute. Uh, I just want to give people a second to hop on once they get the live notification. All right, there we go. So, so good evening, good evening. Welcome. Sunday night. Another Sunday night. I see that we got 4 people on, 4 people liked, so I do appreciate that. Um, so hopefully, doses of Shiny. Hey, how you doing? I'm not sure if I ever seen you on any of the live, so I appreciate you stopping by. Maybe I have, but I just might have missed you. But I appreciate you stopping in to hang out tonight. Just want to jump in and do my Sunday update. Talk about the week as we normally do. All things GOP1 over on this channel. Before I get started, a new subscriber. Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, we all we just have a good time here on Sunday evenings, and we just recap the week and talk about current events and anything else that might float throughout the chat. Saw you on Paul's live. Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate you for stopping in. And yeah, I always appreciate Paul because he's definitely one not to gatekeep. He definitely does the shouting out, like and lets people know, like those of us that have smaller channels. Hey, what up, Jen? That we out here, you know what I mean? We out here. I like to always say, I don't have the largest channel, but I got the best channel. Why? Because I got the best subscribers, right? I got the most important subscriber. I got everybody who matters, right? Everybody who matters actually subscribes to this channel. I like to believe. You know what I mean? Everybody who actually matters subscribes to this channel. So we all about quality over here, not necessarily quantity, right? So yeah, like I said, what I usually do here is I just recap my week, and then after I recap my week, we get into current events. I talk about things that I might have seen around the community, and anything else that kind of floats in the chat, right? So very interestingly, we at the 3 minute mark, which is usually when I go ahead and get started. So Darium says, "Hey there, Dr. Jen." So basically, to recap my week, what happened is I actually did had a colonoscopy this past Friday. I know I had told everybody I was going to get that, go get my colonoscopy because we actually went over my blood work a few months back, and the blood work came back, amazing. Most things were optimal. So very good. I was kind of middle, right in the middle of what it is that they consider good. So I was very happy about that. But I had said I wanted to get a colonoscopy because hey, sweatpants and champagne. I basically said I was gonna get a colonoscopy because that was kind of the thing. Like when I went over my results and we actually went through all of those parts of my body from head to toe. The one thing that you have to do to check, for colorectal cancer and the rectum is to get a colonoscopy. So a lot of people actually like the Cologuard that you actually get sent to the house, you know what I mean? And they actually, send back stool. But see, I'm a person that's very visual and I want to actually, get the surgeon in there so they can actually take the look. Generally when they do a colonoscopy, they're looking for like polyps, right? So that's kind of like what it is. And then you got the prep. So, I definitely want to go over what that looked like for me, right? Um, so what that looked like for me was with the prep. The prep was probably the hardest part, right? And the reason why is because you have to drink so much fluid, between the time of the actual procedure and what it is that you having, the time that it is that you prepping and the actual procedure happening, right? So to actually give you an accurate picture, what happened is they give you a little shopping list, and generally you're going to get Marilax, you're going to get Ducalax, and you're going to get either Gatorade or water. My drink of choice was Smart Water, so I got these two bottles of water that was about $7. Yeah, that's me. I'm out here buying $7 water. So, as crazy as that may sound. But basically I like to get I wanted to get the water that had that was the most pure. I'm not like I drink a lot of water, but I usually drink like the Pure Life. Pure Life is usually what it is that I drink. Oh, colonoscopy over. We go. Nice, nice. So basically, I got smart water. I got the one that's like the filtered water. You know what I mean? So the filtered water was like $7 for 2 bottles, the big the 1 liters. So what I had to do was combine them and then create this mixture. Miralax, what up, Paul? Miralax, and then I had to take Ducalax, right? So now, mind you, I have a system that's probably pretty fragile. We're talking about stomach, like my stomach is pretty fragile, right? It don't take much for me to go to the bathroom normally. Now, since I've been on a GLP-1, that has changed, right? But the thing is, knowing that and then looking at this cocktail that they want me to make and drink, I was pretty like fearful of what it might do. So you had me out here getting men's depends and everything. I got the Miralax, I got the water, I got the depends, I got the because I'm like, you ain't gonna have me having accidents all over the place. So, like I said, back to prep. So at 3 p.m. was the last time I could eat. So I made sure I ate a heavy meal because I knew it would be 24 hours before I could eat again. Now, most people that know me know that I'm all about intermittent fasting. So it ain't too much of a big deal for me to do a 24-hour fast because I do that anyway. Right. So at 3 p.m. was the last meal. Now, generally, when I do a 24-hour fast, I usually start at 5, because I find 5 to be the easiest because I go from yeah, so that's my wife in the chat, letting y'all know her thoughts with all the emoji. But for those that don't know, and then for my actual subscribers, she is my new thumbnail. So I didn't just like take off a wig and makeup. So my thumbnail and my actual channel, you'll see Miss Brown face up there. So and not mine, right? She looks way better than me, so I felt like it'd be a good way to actually grow the channel because she's a lot less frightening. So they won't get on to see such a frightening face, that y'all get to see on live. You see, a face that looks a lot better than mine. So since she looks a lot better, I think she would actually, go ahead and, draw more people in, a safe space. Yeah. So I had to take the Marilax, mix it all together, pour it back into 2 bottles, and then basically they say drink for about over like 1 hour, but I pretty much drunk it all at one time. I wasn't gonna sit and babysit the whole liter, so I pretty much drunk the 1 liter. I slammed the 1 liter at 9 p.m. So 1 liter I slammed at 9 p.m. Then at 5 a.m. I had to get up and take 4 laxatives after I actually took just drunk a half a bottle of Miralax. Okay. So now now mind you, when we take Miralax, we take a cap, right? We take the purple cap, we fill that up, and we drink, we drink that, and that usually yields us a bowel movement the next day. So mind you, now with knowing that, I was definitely nervous about utilizing an entire bottle. I had to take an entire bottle of Miralax, right? So I took the entire bottle along with the 2 waters, mixed it all up, and then I drank 1 bottle at 9 p.m. Then at 5 a.m. I took the 4 laxatives, right? And then at 6 a.m. I'm sorry, 5 a.m. I had to get up 5 a.m. Drink the take the four laxatives, and then 1 hour later at 6 a.m. I had to drink the other 1 liter with the Miralax. So let me tell you, at 6:03 I was in the bathroom. At 6:03 I was in the bathroom. Now again, at 9 p.m. I drank the 1 liter of the bottle of water with the Miralax. At 5 a.m. I took the 4 laxatives. At 6 a.m. I went ahead and drank the other liter. So that's now a half a gallon of water with a bottle of Miralax and 4 laxatives. So let me go over that again. That is a half a gallon of water, a full bottle of Miralax, right? And 4 laxatives. Four, right? So from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, I was in the bathroom. From 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., I was in the bathroom. Now I did get a little sleep, but I woke up and went right back to the bathroom. So I finally stopped going to the bathroom around noon, probably maybe 12:30 actually, because I had to be at the surgery center at 12:30. So 12:30 I got there, we checked in. By 1 o'clock I was in the back and I was in the bathroom again. That was my final movement. And then I went back for the colonoscopy, and I would say an hour later, I was up and it was over. I was up and it was over. So yeah, that was the that was the getting ready and going through the procedure. Now the results. Obviously, I want the results. Now the reason why I actually said that I wanted to go through the colonoscopy and not the Cologuard is because I feel like the colonoscopy. Well, when they give you the colon guard, they send it in the mail. You send the stool back. It tells you right away that these results aren't guaranteed. Yada yada yada. Right, like they do with a lot of other stuff. Right. It seemed like it was to Tamika, but I wanted some finality to it. I didn't want to be waiting on. Well, number one, I didn't want to. I didn't. I just don't really trust the actual Cologuard as well as I know having an actual colonoscopy would be. And like I said, with me actually looking at my blood work, doing all of the cancer checks, checking the prostate, and all of the things, I felt like with all of that, um, it was actually like certain. So I want to do the colonoscopy because you could be certain because they take the scope. For those that haven't had a colonoscopy, I know a lot of you guys have, but some haven't. They actually take a tube that's probably about that big, right? That's the tube. It's like a black tube. It's about this big. It has a camera on it and it has this little grabber, right? So what happens is they actually give you propofol, right? The MJ, I call it MJ. They shoot you up with the propofol, right? And then once they shoot you up with that propofol, you pretty much go to sleep. They turn on your left side prior, so that way you're ready to go. The doctor takes that finger, that doctor takes that finger, and he pretty much hits you with the finger first, and after that, boom, you go right to the scope. I like to call it a scope because it's really just a long black tube. So then they get to go in and then run that up in there, and they look for polyps, right, all up in your guts, right. So that way they can see, you know what I mean, like what's going on, you know what I mean? So yes, I want accurate results, 100%, 110% accurate results, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wanted to go night night, and I said I don't want to know nothing, I don't want to remember nothing, you know what I mean? And they did, they went on up in there, and for the results, because I know it's people want to know. We're talking about a colonoscopy positive T, because that's what I had 2 days ago. I had a colonoscopy 2 days ago. This was following all of my blood work. I had a bunch of cancer screenings. I had my actual prostate cancer test. I had everything. I had everything done. It was all good. But obviously, in order to check the colon in your guts, you got to get a colonoscopy. So that's what I did. I wanted finality. I didn't want to do a send off and all that. So lo and behold, the doctor said that my actual guts, the colon, looked terrific. He said there's absolutely nothing in there. I didn't have not one polyp, not one. He said there's nothing in there. He said you're good to go. Everything is good. So the colonoscopy comes with a preview episode. Hey, look, I actually looked up the colonoscopy anyway before I actually went because I wanted to know. You know what I mean? So I actually saw it before getting there, but it was pretty much like they said, other than the fact that obviously you don't remember anything. You know what I mean? And mine was because I was 45. Right? So do you have to drink that stuff? Yeah, you missed that. You missed that. I did have to drink that stuff. Marilax. Marilax. Marilax is I told everybody I had a half a gallon. I had to have a half a gallon of water and a full bottle of Marilax and 4 laxatives. That's what you have to clean yourself out. So that's what I did. I took that first, and then basically once I got there, they pretty much said, "Hey, they asked you, you know what I mean, like, do you have any allergies or this, that, and the third?" Sort of kind of like when I got my surgery before. When I got my surgery back in October, my wife would tell you, for her it was scary because I was so with me being with that particular arthrodesis of the big toe, it's a lot more involved. How come they didn't prep you with Gabalite? No, so basically, you have options, Paul. And my option was to just go ahead and do the Marilax treatment. So that was my thing. Like I'll go ahead and do the because I already take Marilax, so it wasn't a big deal for me. So I pretty much went ahead and mixed that all up, and then I drunk that, like I said, between 9 and 6 a.m., 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that it literally at 6:03, y'all, 6:03, I was in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom. That was from 6. I keep saying 6 a.m. to about 11, then 12:30 when I got there, I went one more time and then that was it. But that's what they do to clean you out because they want to see it. But again, the thing that I'm most happy about was there was not one polyp. My entire colon was absolutely clean, right? So now mind you, this this doubles on the fact that I said that I had all of those cancer screenings, I had my regular blood work, I had my prostate, so everything is literally clean. So I got one last thing, and that's going to be my heart ultrasound, because most people know I had a regular heartbeat. So I'm gonna get that on Monday, not tomorrow, next Monday, and that is it. That is my last test and to get 100% green. So I definitely love the fact that that's where I'm at. I had the short prep. Most gastronauts had this unrelated, but did you get your weight before the cleanse started? And clear. Yeah, I did. Grace. I actually didn't get on the scale before, because you know what, Grace, it wouldn't have made sense to me because I had so much fluid in me. I literally drank a half a gallon of water on top of the water I was drinking. So Thursday didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense for me to actually do it on Thursday night, Friday technically, because it did. I was so full of fluid, it wouldn't have been an appropriate weight anyway. Because I always like to do the appropriate weight. I mean, my weight early in the mornings. But I will say I did do one after, and I actually was down 2 pounds. I was probably at like, so everybody know that last week I was at 223.3, I think, something like that. So I actually was at like 2.2, like 221.7. So I actually was down like a pound, 1.7 pound, and now I'm back to like 224. Like, so today, so because I actually ate a bit more, so I knew I would be up just a little bit. So I'm actually that's a separate conversation. I'm gonna get into that whole thing in a minute, but basically, just to answer Grace's question, following all of that, the fasting for 24 hours, because that's what it was, because I didn't eat until 4:30 the next day. My last meal was at 3 p.m. and I ate. The next time I ate was Thursday at 3 p.m. The next time I ate was the next time I ate was Friday at 4:30. That's the next time I ate food. That's the next time I ate food. So I was in autophagy already, and I had a full a fast. So just to answer your question, after all of that, I did do my weight on what Saturday morning. I think I was at 221. I was at 221.7. So yeah, but I did so yeah, it was a pound and a half down from all that purging. So now I know that was a true weight. There was no constipation, there was no nothing. I was 221.7. So just so that means that I will only have to lose 2 pounds to be out of obesity at that rate. But lo and behold, now here's the thing, right? I weighed in today and my weight says 224. Now I didn't gain a weight because I do have a smart scale. So now with me having a smart scale, now mind you, I said my weight last week was 223.3. So that would be like a gain of like point 0.8 or point 0.9, like less than a pound, right? So now again, this is what I was telling, actually I was telling us what was it, sweatpants and champagne earlier. I was saying make sure that because she was saying that she basically maintained her weight. She thought she gained, but she actually maintained. Really dive into your smart scale as you go farther into your journey, because it's going to tell you what that looks like, right? So for me, right, saying I was 221 down to 24, looking at my smart scale, I gained no fat, none, right? None at all. And it actually said that I gained muscle. That was pure muscle. It was nothing but muscle. It literally broke it down. It says fat, the water, inflammation, muscle. You know what I mean? So when you go across, it showed me my actual fat was 0. So even though, like, after having that 221.7 on Friday, and then today on Sunday, even though, like I said, I ate pretty heavy yesterday because I had been 24 hours without food, so I expect to be up a little bit. I don't really think I was actually up almost a pound. But it said that it was all muscle. Now I'm going to go into why I believe that it could be true that it was all muscles, because like most of you saw, like if you looked at my actual shorts that I've been posting, this week was the week that I was more active than I've been in like forever. You know what I'm saying? Like forever. Since it was like nice before. Like I literally went back in time to where I was in the beginning, right? And that was like going hard. I was walking, like I told people that's not familiar with my journey, that because I would do. And let me stop to say, if you're a new subscriber here, I do appreciate you. If you were on Paul's Live, that you went ahead and subscribed to my channel. Please like the actual video, the stream while you're here, because we got 10 people watching and we got 5 likes. So pause for a moment and just like the actual video for me if you have not. and also hype if you get the opportunity later. So that way the algorithm knows that you actually like this content, and we can actually draw in more community and actually help those that want to actually be helped with the information that's needed. I also will say that I'm not a physician or your physician. This is just me explaining, my journey through my experiences, and helping where it is that I see fit. But please actually make sure that you check with your prescribers. Okay, I mean with your prescribers, as far as your medical needs, and do what it is that makes sense for you. Okay. And it looks like Positive T says it's time for that cold. Yeah, if you're 45, or you have a history, you definitely want to be actually going in and getting yourself taken care of. You know what I mean? So yeah, I went because I was 45, not because there was any problem or anything like that, but it was time, right? Because I want to be proactive with my health. And with losing weight, I wanted to make sure I check everything, right? The most responsible thing you can do is do your blood work and get every test you can possibly get, so that way you can screen for everything as soon as possible, because the best actual way to actually fight most of the things that we actually end up dealing with is losing weight, number one, fixing your diet, maintaining by actually doing lifestyle changes, but also making sure that you actually know what's going on with your body, right? So if you know what's going on with your body, then what happens there is you're actually able to be proactive and fight off whatever it is early, right? The sooner the better, right? The sooner the better. So anyway, yeah, that's G's walking in the rain and snow. It was snowing and raining here on Thursday. So we had 3 days of almost 80-degree weather, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it was raining. But guess what? I still did my walk because I was that serious about doing what I'm doing. Because when you get serious about GLP-1, and it's based and your life is like your life depends on, your actual, changing your life, you definitely don't let nothing stop you. So my point in that is motivating other people that the weather should never matter, right? The weather should never matter. Now, I will say when it was cold, I didn't do it, because I had surgery, and I had a whole bunch of other reasons, right? But I decided that I wanted to get back to, doing what I did in the beginning, right? Because I want to lose 20 pounds, right? So I want to say 25 pounds to be exact. You know what I mean? Because that would put me at like 199, which would actually take me, clear out of obesity and give me space to actually gain weight and not go back into obesity. Because like I said a long time ago, as I said a long time ago, the thing is, what it is that I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm doing all of the things, right? Everything that is that I'm supposed to do, on this weight loss journey, and runs in the rain for shelter. Runs in the rain for shelter. Yeah, y'all having a lot of conversation. I don't even know where the conversation went, but basically I was actually talking about the fact that it was very good weather Monday through Wednesday, and we actually walked outside, right? And then what happened is I ended up on Thursday, because it was raining and snowing, I still did it, right? So that's where I'm at now. I want to get back to doing what I did in the very beginning, because I've actually cleared my surgery, right? It's been, a little more than 4 months since I've had my surgery, right? Yeah, the 21st of this month will be 5 months. It'll be 5 months since my surgery. So with that being said, what I'd like to do is just make sure that I'm actually clear of all of that, in which I did, and now I'm actually outside doing my walking again like I was doing before. And what I decided to add was incline, right? Because some people actually like to walk inside on an incline, right? So the people that actually walk inside on the incline actually are able to lose body fat, more so than those that are walking flat. Now, most people that follow my journey know I had a surgery on my foot, right? And basically, because of the surgery that I had on my foot, I wasn't actually able to actually do a lot of the stuff that I was doing in the beginning right away. I also am not able to, because of the osteoarthritis in my foot, use the treadmill because of the bouncing, right? So with the bouncing, that actually causes, too much pressure. So therefore, I had that my toe joint fused. I actually can walk outside and not really have a problem. But in order for me to be on an incline, I mean I have to walk up a hill. So anybody that want to actually see that can go to my short, and you can see that hill that I said I conquered, because that's the hill I was talking about. And the video doesn't really do it justice, because realistically, that hill is literally like straight up, like from the bottom. So I actually had to walk down the other side, around, and then up, and then to my house. So that actually gets everything moving in a way that, right, you're not just walking flat foot, but you actually kind of building and actually stretching those muscle fibers that you might not be just walking, on a straight flat, right? Because sometimes that happens. People just walk, straight on a flat, you know what I mean? And that doesn't really necessarily do that, do your muscles the good that you need, right? Because what we constantly hear is people talking about, strength training. So I'll go back to that in a second. So basically, this was my most active week. I had my wife and my daughter out there. They walked along with me too. I did the hill with them once. I did it once myself. I did it once with them, and then the next time we pretty much did the old walk, which we used to do when we used to go to the mall, which was more about duration. We kind of get to that like 30-40 minute mark. That's kind of what you want, because there's different types of cardio, right? And I feel like how do I remember? um how do I eat ribeye? I eat ribeye tonight. I just had one. Ribeye, probably a few times a month, Grace. Probably a few times a month, Grace. Um, but yeah, so basically, I actually but I eat a lot of whole foods. For those that don't know, I mean, I'm kind of a carnivore connoisseur of steak. You know what I mean? Ribeye mainly. You know what I mean? And I eat it a few times a month, right? But like I said, the good news is that I didn't have any polyps in my colon, none, zero. The man said my colon was absolutely 3D clean. Okay, so my colon is good, all my blood work is good, all my lab works are amazing. All my cancer screenings are good. I have one test left, and that's my heart ultrasound, which will be next Monday. That is it. And then I'm good. And then I go back, it's a cycle for some, basic blood work in May, because I I go like every 6 months since I'm on a GLP-1. So our last blood work I had was in November. So I'll go in May, and then pretty much in June, I'll probably give you all the results. So you'll be at the end of May of that. So just extremely happy to be, very healthy. Like I said, back to the weight. I was 223 because that's what Grace asked. I was 221, following all of that. 221 on Friday. What was that? I want to say Saturday morning. Yesterday morning I was 221. This morning I was actually 224. Do I think I gained 3 pounds in that? No, because I was 221.7. So that'd be a little more than a pound and a half. And then when I looked at it, I was actually it was actually muscle and not fat. So I was happy about that. Now, what I was trying to get to with that is I did resume my sorry to hear that. I hope you. They talking about a dog or something in there. Yo, the chats be funny. People be talking about all kind of stuff. Like, but no. So basically, I actually am uh back to well, so I was saying that I'm it said 224, but it said that it was muscle. Now I am back to actually resistance training. So actually it makes sense to me, right? I did all of that walking and resistance training. So I could see how, some muscle could be developed and some fat can be going away. And that is what we talk about in recomposition. So that's not a bad week. Somebody else might look and say, oh, well, you gained almost a pound, you know what I'm saying, this week, even though you did all of that stuff. No, that would be somebody that's pretty much a novice, right? Somebody that's a novice is 13 years a good run. Is that for a dog? Hello, just recovering G's channel. Thanks to Paul and Vanity's live stream. 371 BJP. What up? Appreciate you for dropping in. Please like the stream since you're here. And I appreciate you for being, if you are a new subscriber. If not, please subscribe. Like and hype the channel so other people could see, that we over here, and that we are actually, a good channel that pump out great information based on my journey. For those that don't know, let me back it up a little bit since we do got several new subscribers in here. I'm a person that started out with obesity at 319, almost 320 pounds. I have since lost 96 pounds. I'm 224 today. And actually, I've done that. I actually lost most of my weight in 45 weeks. I'm on week 62, I believe. I've been on a 12.5 for 3 months. I've been on it for 3 months. I got that, and I wanted to actually clarify that because I know I did say that. I'm at 224 when it goes to nice, Grant. That's good, man. That's good. That's good. My goal is to be at 199. So I probably want to go a little about 15 pounds past you. But yes, my short-term goal is to get the 219. Because if I get the 219, that means that I'm no longer considered obese, right? Technically 220, but I say 219 for good measure. That's 100 pounds down. So that's why I say 219 instead of 220. 219 would actually put me at 100 pounds down and no longer obese, right? But technically 220, I could do that. So that's pretty much just 4 pounds. But yes, I started all the way back last January, January 5th. Did G's profile pic? Yeah. Hey, losing it with Grace. Look, you got it. So losing it with Grace got it, right? Y'all see that picture, right? He seen that thumbnail. Hey, Kim J, how you doing? I told my wife that too. I said, I'm gonna put your picture up here. I'm putting your picture up here. I bet you it's gonna bring me some people in here too. It sure did. Hey, Grace, you got it too. Grace, you said Grace said a 371. Did that picture bring you over here? I got you under obese to overweight on at BMI at 220. I got under obese to overweight on BMI at 225. Okay, that means you taller, Grant, because I'm 6 foot tall. You must be like 6'2". Are you 6'2", Grant? You probably a little bit taller than me. I'm 6 foot. So at 6 foot, I need to be at 220, not 225. So that's why I want to get down to like 199. You're a little bit taller than if that's the case. I'm 6 foot. So I need to get to actually I need to get to 220 to see that, which is a few more pounds. But that's why, like, if I get to 199, that's gonna put me at a BMI just shy of 27. And even just to go back to that, just to address that again. So basically, with BMI 6'2", see, I told y'all I'm good with this, man. I'm good. I'm surgical with this thing. Like, you know what I mean? So yes, you're right. See, that's why, Grant. That's why you So in all actuality, yeah, I mean, you probably only need to get to like 210. You know what I mean? 210 to actually be like really, really, really good. Like at that like 26. You know what I mean? So yeah, you ain't but about 15 pounds away. I'm about 25 pounds away. Um, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Oh, Darren was in our he was in our last like Paul and Manny live stream. Yeah, Darren was over there. Darren went to sleep. Darren must be asleep. So I'm gonna grind him up after this. Make sure you get your percentage. Make sure she get her percentage. Look, she got her percentage every day. So let me be clear. Miss G's get her percentage every day. Every day she gets a percentage. So we don't gotta wait to get monetized for that. But yeah, I basically was at three 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 not wondering minds, Grace. Be like Medea, which Lord have mercy. But anyway, yeah. So we was at 319. We at 224 right now. We actually Darren, there you go. The people are saying talking about Darren right there. He not asleep. He out there. He just quiet. Darren was taking a graceful nap. Darren was taking a graceful nap. You know how they get on the porch? Darren might have one of them chairs rocking on the, you rock on the porch and you fall asleep out there because you get that good wind. So Darren got that good wind on the porch out there. You on the porch, Darren? Darren out there on the porch. King Darren is on the porch on his throne, sleep. Yeah, so no. So basically, like I said, I started at 319. I'm down to 224. And basically, we just got 4 pounds to go to get out of obesity and to just overweight. My goal is 199. So, like I said, about 25 pounds to go to get me at a BMI of just shy of 27, right? So when we basically get to that 27, that pretty much clears, all of the thing. Oh, he's driving. Okay, drive safe, man. So like I said, basically ideal, right? Because people talk about ideal all the time, right? Ideal is not necessarily, again, this is what I'm about to say, came from an actual obesity surgeon, right? That studies obese bodies. And what he said was, a lot of us might not actually want to go for the ideal that is actually in the chart, because oftentimes when you go to that ideal, it doesn't look becoming to you because your structure has changed when you've been in an obese body for the majority of your life. Now, for those that have not, that may have just became obese within the past few years, or you want to just get back, or you're very, very young, you're like 20, 25, something like that. But when over 30, over 40, over 50, and you've been obese since a child, your body parts, even the organs, actually have enlarged, believe it or not, right? So you going for the chart ideal is not necessarily ideal. That is not your ideal, right? So when people say, well, okay, well, I'll get to ideal and then, you know what I mean, it's a possibility I could still be, bordering that, I mean, I'll get to, and then I could be bordering still being like overweight or what have you. Not so fast. Not so fast. Because your thoughts and ideas on that is based on you being at a 23, 24 BMI. When that BMI is not necessarily for you. Your typical BMI is probably going to be between 27 and 32. And again, this is not from G's 101. This is from a 30-year obesity surgeon. And it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. But I keep hearing this. People say, well, I'll get to my ideal BMI. Okay, but ideal BMI for your body is not the chart getting to a 24. So you got to stop looking at, I got to get to a 24 BMI to be ideal. No, a lot of you, when you hit 27, you already at the ideal BMI. A lot of people, and I'm gonna say a lot of people because there's a lot of women here. A lot of women, you only got 10, 15 pounds to go, and you're trying to lose 30. You got 10, maybe 15 pounds more to go to get to that 27, let's just say, and you're trying to lose 30 pounds, which is going to shoot you past what actually ideal really is, right? So you definitely don't want to be doing that because then you know what I mean, you're overshooting the mark. You're overshooting the mark, with the weight that you're trying to get to, because realistically, and I'm standing on this, it's because you still are looking for the body recomp that comes with actually developing muscle and not necessarily just trying to get the scale to go down more. You got to actually start gaining some muscle, and that's going to change that any old way. So again, because a lot of ladies, and again, like I'll use my own wife. I ain't gonna talk about everybody, but she's 5 foot tall. So ideal for 5 foot tall woman is 125 pounds. 125 pounds. My wife don't need to be 125 pounds. She's 160 pounds right now. And if she gets down to yes, yeah, that's right. Corresponds to a weight brain. Yeah, that's textbook. So you got to get out of ideal textbook, like what Grace just put there. That's ideal textbook, but that's not for obese people. If you're an obese person, that ain't for you. That's not for you. That's not for you. Your ideal is not 24. Your ideal is closer to 27. Why? Because your body has morphed along with your obesity throughout the time that you've been obese, which is most of your life. Now, if you're somebody who necessarily probably wasn't, yes, I look like a skinny, frail body. Yes, to me, that's what I'm saying. But see, we throw the textbook up so quick. Get off of the textbook of, 24.9 is BMI. Number one, that BMI was made for a general population. It was not made for individuals. So this is why a lot of individuals get to that point where they say, well, you look gaunt, you look this, you look that. Because sometimes we do, because you go too far, because you're trying to look at the number in the book. Why don't you just look at yourself? You know what I'm saying? Look at yourself. Do you look like, when you get to a 23, does it look right? For some people, it do because you weren't obese. So let me back it up. I'm talking to people that have been in an obese body for most of their life. I'm talking to people that have been in an obese body for most of their life, not people who actually were not. If you weren't obese, then I'm not talking to you. So, but I'm talking to, because again, this channel is geared towards obesity warriors, and these are people that have been obese like myself, right? And that is clinically obese with a BMI of 40 or above, right? And I'm saying for us, ideal is 27, not 24 or 25, however you want to look at it. So me personally, I'm trying to get to about a 26.9. You know what I'm saying? I like to be everything to be safe. So I just want to get there. I'm not trying to get to a 24. That doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to be 180 pounds, right? Because I probably would have to be like 180 for that. I would have to be 180 pounds, right? So, am I trying to lose, what is that, almost 50 pounds? No, I don't lose 50 more pounds than me look what right now. It doesn't make sense. But people a lot of times get on this internet and keep saying that. Oh, well, I want to get to 24.9. From where? Where'd you get that from? Yeah, 184.5. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. I don't need to be that small. I don't need to be that small. That doesn't make sense because I've been obese forever. So my body parts aren't the body parts of someone who has not. Hence the obesity surgeon who actually spoke these words, and it makes so much sense to me. And that's why we see people like, man, they look a little funny. You know what I mean? Because you're going too far. You're overshooting the mark. And a lot of women, right, that probably should get to about 140 are shooting for 120, and you overshooting the mark. You overshooting the mark, and then you end up trying to gain. I mean, ask Tamika. Tamika is an amazing. She could actually tell you exactly what I'm talking about. She could tell you exactly what I'm talking about. And right now, she went through that phase. She's gained, put weight back on, and looks terrific. You know what I mean? Because she did go all the way down, and now trying to go back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. And a lot of the people are still trying to go for a 24 of a BMI. Why? Because who said that? You know what I'm saying? 27 makes a lot more sense for obese people. And that's what I'm shooting for. So I said all that just to say that. That's the whole thing. You should be going for what's ideal for you, not ideal because the textbook says go to 24, and your health markers. Because all of these doctors will tell you, they'll tell you that um the weight loss is medically significant at when you lose 10%. When you lose 10%. You could go look at Spencer Nadowski and all of them, because I actually put a chart up in my post. If people go, if you look at, like, if you go back and go to my post, I actually put a chart up of their BMI conversation they had, because they said we need to really just kill the BMI and start looking at your waist circumference. So that's why I'm still all about changing that body fat percentage to a proper percentage. Now I'm not talking about 10%, right? Because 10% is like something that's hard to actually keep to actually get to, number one, you know what I mean, and maintain. Hell, 15% is hard to do, but a lot of people who avidly work out, that's males, could probably get to 20. They could probably get to 20, right? And a lot of females, right? They could probably get to about 30, 25 to 30, right? That's a good range for them. 20, between 25 and 30, 32 actually. Actually, it's about 27 to 32% that females actually could do and be very good. You know what I'm saying? That part to a short, G's. Yeah, I probably should. I'll definitely do that. Just make it a short. I actually did do a short on that, Tamika. I did a short on that already. That probably got about almost 1,000 views. I did a whole short on that about a couple months back. So but it's very important because I keep on hearing this and people still regurgitating it. Keep saying, oh, the 20, you don't need to get to a 23 or 24 BMI. Stop saying that. It doesn't make sense. For people, again, let me put it in context, because people try to take things out of context. I didn't say nobody in the world needs to get to a 23 or 24. I'm talking to clinically obese individuals, people that had a BMI of 40 or above or close to it, right? I don't want to be at that on that BMI chart. It don't allow room for my curves, in my opinion. Absolutely, Kim J. Absolutely. But I keep hearing this. Like, we got to stop that trying to get to a 24 BMI. That doesn't make sense. Okay? Your BMI, if you want to use that, then you probably should aim for about 27. 27 is pretty safe, right? So if I'm using myself, that means I got to get to about 199, 200 pounds. That's what it would be for me, right? That's what it would be for me, right? But I'm saying if I'm going to use a lady, right, and I can use my wife safely because I have permission to do that. I don't know about other ladies, but for her, right? So for her, that would be her getting to right around 135, 140, right? Not 125. That's too low. That's just a bridge too low. And again, we only talking about maybe 10 or 15 pounds. But understand, the lower you get, the more 15 pounds is dramatic. 15 pounds on a smaller person is 10 to 15 pounds is dramatic on a small person, right? On a small person. Now, when you're coming from larger weights and somebody saying 15 pounds ain't that much, yeah, it's probably not that much on a large person. But as you get smaller and smaller, that 10 to 15 pounds means a lot. It's a ton. So that's why I'm saying a lot of ladies, and let's just, since my wife is 5 foot tall, hers would be more on that end of 135, right? About 135 is probably like that sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 140. But you got women that's 5'7" talking about 130. You know what I'm saying? That don't make sense. They overshooting the mark. Your mark is probably at the lowest, probably 145. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like I said, you 5'3", you're a little taller, 5'5", it's probably right around 145, maybe even 150, depending on how your body recomposition is. But that's the range in between, like 130 to 150. Probably where most ladies, from 5 foot 4'11", let's just say, because there's some really, short ladies. Let's say 4'11" up to like 5'6". Your range is probably anywhere between 130 to like 150, 155. It's not 125. Like, because I'm hearing crazy number. Like 125, that's low. 125 is very low for most people. You know what I'm saying? And most adults in general, unless you like 4'8". You shouldn't be 120. You know what I'm saying? So again, we overshooting the mark. And for most guys, it's probably like, if you're 6 foot, around 200 pounds, right? If you're 6 foot, but now if you're a shorter guy, you probably, like, now if you're a guy that's like 5'8", yeah, you probably could do the 180. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're a guy that's 5'8", 5'9". You probably should be around 180, maybe 170, depending on your. But but it's around 200 pounds. So what I'm saying is most people are being between that are in healthy ranges are between 130 to 200 pounds to make this all make sense. You anywhere from like 130 to 200 pounds. If you find yourself saying, "Hey, I'm trying to get to 119," or you're a dude trying to be 165, you probably overshooting the mark a bit. You know what I mean? So there's my tangent on that. I just heard a lot about it, and I just feel like that's still worth talking about. But the other thing is, so from hey reset with Anissa. So most people should have seen on Anissa's channel. She shouted me out for suggesting that she utilize the vitamin B because I saw her video and she said she was pretty deficient and fatigued. Um, and with her being fatigued, I suggested she get a multivitamin, right? Because multivitamins are generally deemed safe for the mass public, right? So anytime I say anything on these airways, it's usually something that's deemed safe for the masses, right? I'm not telling anybody to do anything that their doctor should be telling them. I'm just saying usually an over-the-counter vitamin, one a day, is usually okay. And the one a day that I actually happen to be using is called Pro Edge. Now there isn't much delineation between they for marketing purposes, you will see the difference between male and female, right? Men, women vitamins, but there isn't much of a difference, right? Yes, the vitamin B is so helpful. Absolutely. And I'm glad that it helped you. But usually when I keep hearing this from a lot of people, because what we get into now, and it's gonna be my next segment of this conversation tonight, is about we're hearing about the side effects, right? The certain side effects that people are having with the fatigue on the higher doses. And most of us, um, most of us that are basically on the higher doses, let's say 10, 12, 15, there is some fatigue, you know what I mean? Some anhedonia, some, like the not giving a craps, is what they call it, right? Not caring about things and then like the prickling of the little prickling of the skin, something like that, right? The skin sensitivity, I should say, right? The thing is, there are things you can do, before it gets to that point, right? So for her, she just was lacking a bit vitamin B, and I knew it right away. She said, "Man, because she wasn't taking nothing," and a lot of us aren't supplementing, in a positive way that with something that can help us. And when Twine moved from the 12 and a half to the 15, she started getting infusions, right? So she gets an actual shot, I believe, now regularly, that she gives to her and her husband. These are things that are needed, right? You actually do need to do these things. These aren't things that you just, that I'm saying haphazardly. And when you're not doing them, you can't not do those things, right? And then say, "Oh, well, my brain feels foggy and I feel kind of tired." And well, no crap. You probably do because you're not supplementing your energy the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to do something about it, right? You go ahead and file the trademark before the neighborhood starts franchise. Yeah, hey, listen, yeah. So the thing is, right? You have to actually make sure that you actually are getting the proper supplements outside of the basic things when you're doing this stuff, so you don't get these feelings of other stuff, right? And what I mean is, oftentimes, if we get into a heavy workout routine, every now and then we might have to take a Tylenol because we're sore, right? When we take other medications, there are side effects, and we use other things to help, right? Whether it be soaking, whether it be anhedonia, yeah, it's the skin sensitivity, allodynia, yeah, that's the skin sensitivity, right? So the thing is, you have to do other stuff. You know what I mean? Like you say that, "Hey, I have no energy and this, that, and the third," but what are you doing about it? You know what I mean? Oh, it's just with the medicine is causing it. That shouldn't be a cause to go down in your medication right away. You might want to actually do something. But anyway, with Anissa, she basically had said that she wasn't, she didn't have the energy that she had once she started to 10. And I said, yeah, by design. You know what I mean? So therefore, you're supposed to combat that with an increased vitamin B in your system. And a lot of compounders did that, right? And put it together, which there's some controversy now as to mixing that, in the same ingredients together. But I knew just from my own personal vantage point that you need the increased vitamins. Now, the vitamins in particular that I actually suggested to her were called One A Day Pro Edge. And the reason why it's Pro Edge is because, hey, geez, 2 months thinking of microdosing. But basically, what it is It's actually like a hyped up version of each one of those actual vitamins that's not in the regular one, and it's special concentration on vitamin B. So you're getting more of a concentration than you would, which is I use. You get more of that than you would in the regular one of that, right? And it's because you need more than the regular, you know. So, and I noticed like it helped me. It really helped me, and I was like, oh, I need something. I got to get a vitamin or something. So when you take that, it really gives you that energy back. And I'm glad to hear she's actually has some energy. She had a great week, and she's back to like working out and stuff. So that's my point, and that's why I'm saying that, you know, each one teach one, and we got to make sure that we meet each other where we are, because in Paul and Vanity's live, they were talking about content, what to talk about, the future, and where to go, right? So I want to say this, right? I want to say this about that, you know, and about my own particular channel. The way that I gauge whether what I'm saying makes sense, whether it's important, and whether it's a good topic, is the feedback that I get and whether it helps improve somebody's way of life, right? That's going to determine my topic. My topic is going to be determined by what helps to improve others' way of life if I can. And to me, it's nothing more gratifying. And my wife in the chat should tell you than seeing, you know, G's 101 being screenshot in somebody else's chat or their live or their page saying, hey, this guy suggested this and it changed my day. I can actually do this now because to me, that's the win. That's the win. We can try to like create and conjure up stuff all day, but I don't feel like that's a need, because when you meet the people where they are and talk to the people where they at, they're gonna tell you what it is that they need from you. So for me doing stuff like that and me consistently getting feedback, that's showing me that what I'm doing is the right thing. What I'm saying is the right thing because it's changing somebody's day and it's changing somebody's outcome, right? It's changing somebody's outcome. So that outcome, right? Because that's really what it is. So in pharmacy speak, you know what I mean? Jen might be able to tell you, but you know, in the medical world and pharmacological spaces, we look at outcomes. Outcomes are everything, right? You design all of these things, you know, and the hope is that it has positive outcomes because that's where you win. That's where contracts are decided, and that's where things are you know, business is made is with outcomes, right? One to help to change someone's day for the better. That's where it's at. It's not about like making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? I understand people that are creative, and that's why I call myself an influencer. I don't the creator thing, you know, I mean, you are what you are, but I'm not. That's why like y'all don't see like I don't do like the crazy editing and all of the cartoon stuff and all that on my channel, because I'm really all about information. You know, I do see some people say, well, I'm not really about the news and I'm not about this and that, but then I mean, G's 101 channel ain't for. Now I'm not saying I'm here promoting Eli Lilly stuff. What I'm saying is I'm here talking about current events and what actually matters to people in their lives, not necessarily here to actually, you know, there's a level of entertainment I think we do naturally, you know, through conversing back and forth and having the right energy, right? Make stuff up, there, make stuff up, and you might not want to hear it. Y'all crazy, but see, that's what I mean. Like you're going to naturally have that. But for me, like I said, as is in my channel, I like to actually come on here with information that's going to help somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you know the saying, right? People might forget everything that I say tonight, but you never forget how it made you feel, right? You never forget how it made you feel. I can say a whole bunch of stuff and it might go in one ear and out the other, right? Hey, Felicia, but you will never forget how I made you feel, right? And right now, I feel like that's Anissa, right? Like she was feeling really bad and not able to have energy to do, and now she got some energy, and that's going to change things for her, right? And that's do something very simple, like hey, a one a day vitamin, you know, that she wasn't thinking about. As trivial as that might sound, and the specifics of that particular he never wants to hear anything, Dr. F ain't doing it. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's literally just you know, that particular concentration. So when you can help somebody's day like that, that's what it is. That why I say like I think my content is all about that. It's all about that. It's all about, you know what I'm saying, talking to people, meeting them where they at. And what I would like not to do, this what I would like not to do, right? Because I feel like I got a good you know deal of influencers in here with me right now. What I want all of us to remember to do is I want us to remember that everybody is not where we are, right? There's a lot of people just tuning in today that just took their first shot this week, right? There's somebody that took their first shot this week. So while I know all of this, right, and I feel a certain type of way about certain type of things, when I get on here, I'm not getting on here just for me. I'm not getting on here just for me. Now I enjoy it. That's why I keep coming back doing it. But I really like to help people. I feel like I'm a blessed. I feel like I'm blessed because I'm a blessing to others, right? Why? Because I share information. I'm not a gatekeeper, and I share any information that I have with others all the time. If you need information, and I have it, I'm gonna let you know. If I watch your story and I see that I can help you somewhere, I'm gonna help you. You know what I mean? So that's what I think we gotta look at. We gotta look at what is the outcome of the information that we putting out, not necessarily getting on here to necessarily entertain. Now, if that's your thing, you want to get on here to, like I said, to joke around and just what I'm saying, talk about people or something. It is what it is. I'm not saying don't. I'm not, and let me be clear about that. I'm not saying don't, react to stuff people saying, because that's what we're doing. We have conversations. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I think that the answer to what to do and what to create comes to you organically. You don't have to necessarily sit around and try to create it, because that's when it becomes fake. You know what I'm saying? And I only know how to be myself. I only know how to be real. And I feel like, what I've done thus far has worked. You know what I mean? My subscriber count might not say it, but I'll tell you that the subscribers do say it, because the people that actually come here and keep showing up are important people and influencers themselves, right? So I think that it's all good. Um, and most people saw that I posted a picture of my wife in my chat, because she's doing really well. People always want the update on that. And she's doing really good. She's down 36 pounds. And just I believe she's on week 27, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 26 or 27. She's on the 10 milligram, and she's doing amazing, like I said. So she's right around 161, and her goal is about 140, her, her 135 maybe. It depends on how she feel, how she looks at that point. And most people that saw the short, you'll see us, we walk together. Some days I do it myself. When she doesn't walk with me, she's basically she's doing the treadmill. Yeah, she does her treadmill inside, on the days that we don't walk together, and then she does her own resistance training. So right now, will she move up to 12 point? I mean, she'll just like me. I mean, you go wherever it is you need to go. The 12.5 and the 15 is there for her if she needs it, but probably not, because like I pretty much said, Grace, I mean, if you think about it, the statistics that she's having doesn't point to her needing to do that. You know what I mean? I think that she did need to move to the 10 because of the food noise she was having. She was on the 7.5 the longest, just like I was. But I just started the Big 10. So far so good. Yes, so she is responding, Grace. Yeah, she don't necessarily need to move to 12.5 because she's having success where she is. She's only been on the 10 for like a month or so. So yeah, she's just started that. So she'll be on that for quite a while. And then think about it. If she's able to get the goal, then no, she wouldn't move back. Yeah, right. She's averaging 1.3 pounds a week. So I think that's pretty good, right? 1.3 pounds a week. I think that's pretty good. So I wouldn't suggest that she would move up. Yeah, there would be no need. She hasn't had a stall really yet. So every week she loses weight. Um, so there's that. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting talking about where does your channel go? And then they talked about the clicks, right? So the clicks. So it's funny what they brought up the whole clicks thing, because there was a thing with I felt like there is a thing, like I said, with clicks in this space. Um and I think it's unfortunate though, right? It's unfortunate. Thanks, Kim. Yes, kudos to her. She, like I said, she's in the chat. She see y'all, so, and she's responding as she see it. But Jen, did you use the extra force you had there? Grace, are you going up to the 12.5, or have you moved to the 12.5? Grace? Because I mean, that's where I am. I'm at the 12.5. I don't have any plans on moving up, because, like I said, the 12.5 I've been on for about 3 months now, and it's doing really good for me. It's doing really good. I actually am not as constipated on the 12.5. I think it's very good, and it quiets the food noise. There she goes. She says, "Thanks, guys. I was scared to start the 10 at first. So far, so good." That's what she said. So, and it is, it's very good for her. I have a few 12.5 still on 10. I don't even know how many months it's been. Yeah, but that's good though, Grace. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the 10, 12, and the 15 aren't necessarily about um they're not necessarily about the weight loss anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about weight loss at that point. If you can get to the 10, I feel like you can lose all the weight that you need to lose with that. Technically. right? I feel like the 12 and the 15 more hit are about food noise. So, like I tell everybody, I didn't go to the 12.5 for weight loss. It was because the food noise had returned pretty bad. Now I know that you can't go forever, but so far, 12.5 is doing pretty good. Now, one thing I did not mention earlier when I did do the colonoscopy, when I had the colonoscopy, I had to take my medication. Now I didn't miss a pin, right? Because people be like, well, how do you do it not miss a pin? Because I had to go 8 days without my shot. I had to be 8 days without the shot when I actually had the colonoscopy. So what I usually do with mine is a few weeks prior to any procedure, I start moving it back, right? She says sometimes she gotta force herself to eat. Yeah. So basically I started to move it back. So what I mean by that is my colonoscopy was on a Friday. So a week or so prior, I would move it back to 2 weeks prior. I would move it back to Thursday and then finally Wednesday. That's how I do it. I move it back. So basically, my actual shot, my last shot was 9 days prior to my actual surgery. Oh, colonoscopy. I'm saying colonoscopy. I did 10 days with the actual foot surgery. Um, but my colonoscopy was that was 8 days. So basically, when I actually took my shot, I took my shot Friday night, just so y'all know. Friday night, this past Friday night, because me and her take our shots on Fridays. We take our shots the same day. But I moved mine back to Wednesday, the Wednesday prior, so that way I didn't miss one shot. So if it makes sense to you, it's okay to move your shot back 24 hours each week. For those that don't know, every week you can move your shot back 24 hours or forward 24 hours, as much as up to 72 hours, if that makes sense to you all. So what I did was I moved it to Wednesday. The Wednesday prior, I took it, and then I didn't take it again until the day of the colonoscopy after the colonoscopy. Because generally I would have been due on I would have been due on Friday to take it, but I took it on Wednesday, the Wednesday prior, right? So basically I went 9 days technically. So needless to say, on Saturday I was pretty hungry. And this is why I know my food noise is real for those that don't know. And that's why I know that I'm not gonna be one that's gonna titrate down and you know come off and all that. Because at the end of the day, my food noise is very bad. Like it's very bad. And I can tell because yesterday I was pretty hungry. Now mind you, I also did a 24-hour fast. I can't leave that out, right? Uh yeah, definitely a lifer, Grace. And you know this, Grace. You know I'm a lifer. Come on now. Um, I'm definitely a lifer because I need it. You know what I'm saying? So for all of these people, if I lose coverage, I'll pay for it. If I lose coverage, I'm gonna take somebody else's. I'm gonna steal it. Walgreens never had my Zepbound stock, so every new box I get, I have to wait 5 days every time. Wow. Well, not no more. Now Zepbound is readily available. You shouldn't have any problem with stock. But yeah, Grace. If I lose, I told my wife, I said if I lose it, I'm gonna take yours. I'm gonna take now, meaning somebody else's. I ain't coming off. You know what I mean? If I lose my coverage, I'm taking somebody else. No, but in all seriousness, no, I'll have to pay for it because it's a lifelong thing for me. I'm grateful, and everybody else. The one thing I would say is working in our favor is a lot of things are changing, and I think that it's going to actually move towards being a bit cheaper. Because there's a lot of competition coming. Number one, the pills are out. The 1.5, the 4, the 9, and the 25. And I just actually start seeing the 25 go out. The first patient I ever seen with the 1.5 has just got her 25 milligram filled last week. So it'll be interesting to see what that brings, what the YouTube streets and everything say about that 25 Wegovy pill, because that's what I'm talking about. But yes, the prices are going to start to come down. So those of us that are on Zepbound will probably be able to be on Zepbound because there's so many other drugs coming out, Retta and everything like that. Zepbound, I feel like it's so good that I probably don't need to go to another drug. In my head, the only thing I would be curious to try is the lower doses of Retta, just to see what that would do for muscle retention. But they said that, well, in early trials, people that are brave enough to use compound in the gray market, they did say that it doesn't have as much as a food suppressant. It is heavily GIP, just like the tirzepatide, right? Reddit Reddit is heavily GIP the same way that the tirzepatide is, right? But the glucagon factor, which actually is the one that increases that energy expenditure, it doesn't necessarily bode as high with the food noise suppressant. And I know, me knowing what I just said to you guys, I have the heavy food noise. So in having that heavy food noise, I know that tirzepatide is probably a better drug for me than Retta is, because Retta doesn't give you that same suppression, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a lifer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like the term, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I've been taking blood pressure pills since I was probably like 34, right? So that's been over 11 years I've been taking that, and I don't even that doesn't even come up. People are like, oh yeah, did you take your blood pressure medicine? Make sure you take your blood pressure medicine. You know what I mean? So I don't I mean, take your GLP-1. It's or your GLP-1 or any other entity that you're taking. It doesn't I don't think that should be a conversation like of, are you a lifer? Like, if you suffer with obesity, you probably are. You know what I mean? Because I always say, if the people that come off, right, the people that come off, right, and could stay off successfully, probably didn't need it because they probably didn't suffer with the disease of obesity. They probably just suffered with other comorbidities, or either a lack of a good plan, right? And it led them to where they are. But people like me that been overweight my entire life, I suffer with obesity. It's a disease and I need to treat it forever, right? Even the conversation that, hey, there may be other treatments. Well, we don't know what they are. You know what I'm saying? Or other ways. Yeah. Well, we do know there are other ways, but they're not sustainable. They're not sustainable. That's like if we say, hey, well, we can fast and go to the gym and do that, but did you sustain it? You can't sustain it. So yeah, there are other ways. There's no fighting or arguing with the fact that there's other ways to lose weight, but there hasn't been another way proven to keep it off. That's the conversation. What's going to keep it off? Right? So I'm not trying to do nothing funky or funny and titrate to this and do all this and that. What I'm going to do is stay on the dose that I'm tolerating, which is 12.5, as for till the end of time, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have these things that people get on, like even the complaints, right? I mean, look, I don't want this to be a 3 hour live, but I do have some other things that I want to say while I'm on here tonight. The things that people are getting on here, right? And it's almost like, a while ago, Vanity had said a lot of people that actually lose weight, they start to get cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to this weight, and then you forget what happened, or how it is you got here, right? You forget how it all started, right? You forget how it all started. And the one thing we don't want to do is forget how it all started. You started out struggling. You started out struggling. You was at a ridiculous high weight. You probably had all kind of comorbidities. And I'm talking to my clinically obese folks again. Those that had that 40 BMI or higher, you know what I'm saying? Clinically obese, right? Because we had all of these problems and all of these things that are life threatening. This particular treatment that you take is not a treatment that you haphazardly say, hey, I'm gonna go stick myself with this pen so I can get up off of it in 6 months. This is a pen that you take knowing that I might be on this for long term, maybe life, right? Or until something else comes out. And like I said before, if I'm not on this, I'll be on another treatment. Why? Because I suffer with obesity. It is a disease and it's okay to be on forever. And I don't need to keep saying I'm gonna be on it for life. Of course, I suffer with obesity, so I am, because I need it. And I don't need to explain that, but I will explain it as an influencer to you guys and to people that ask. But we shouldn't ask people that on drugs they need, are they going to be lifers, as if like it's a thing. That's not a thing. Of course I am, because this is what I have. You know what I'm saying? This is what I am. Like, you know what I mean? So because your weight lowers doesn't mean you no longer have the disease. Is that the understanding? Do people think that because you get to a satisfactory weight that satisfies you, right? And your health markers change, that you no longer have disease? No. You still have to treat it to keep it at bay, right? You got to keep it at bay. So to keep it at bay, that means that you got to do things. You remember when that weight start knocking at your door. And here's the thing, Jen. I'm seeing all these videos now of these young ladies who people are finally seeing that they regain the weight. I've been seeing these videos and telling y'all about these women that was people that was regaining weight because they was titrating down and coming off. I've been saying it. I don't know how many women I've seen gain between 20 and 40 pounds in 3 to 5 months. 3 to 5 months. That's literally clinically significant. That's clinically significant. That's literally from anywhere from 7 to 15% of their weight in 3 to 5 months after coming off the medication. Number one is because what they didn't do was they didn't titrate down, they stopped. They stopped. Now, I do feel for those who had to stop based on finance and accessibility. Let me not say that. Because if you had to come off for finances or accessibility, I actually empathize with you, and I hope that you can find a compound route to satisfy the need, because that's the way to go now. If you actually lose accessibility with brain, is you go compound and get no more than 3 months, because that's my other thing. Do not get more than 3 months of medication. Why? Because number one, I know people say stockpile and it's cool. Now, if you want higher doses, yeah, and you're not going anywhere, that might be okay. But if you're kind of in the beginning, right, you got a bunch of lower doses that might not be helpful to you. You don't want to get more than 3 months because you want to be able to move to the next dose. And I'm saying that because compounders a lot of times like to actually sell bulk. They sell bulk, right? Oh, well, Grace, the thing is, where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that knowing who you are and where you are in your journey, you're definitely going to find a way. You know what I mean? So I empathize, that you actually have that feeling and that worry. But I do definitely not being able to pay would be my only reason I'll come off. Yeah. I definitely, like I said, I do empathize there. I empathize if somebody, but let me reel the conversation back in. I don't want to go too far left. The ladies who I'm talking about, at least 2 out of 3. I don't think all three. I think 2 out of 3. They chose to stop. They said, "Hey, well, I'm about to come off now because I lost my weight." And I'm like, "What was your understanding of this medication?" And this is where I thought some of the providers, like what Dr. Nadowski and them call pill mills, because these are the people, and they're called, I guess, injection mills, right? The pill mills, because they're actually giving out the medication without really explaining that this is not. And when they say long term, when you say a long term to a lot of people, you know what they think? A lot of times they think, oh, well, that long term, what's that, 6 months? Is it a year? No, it's forever. It's forever. So that's the conversation I'm having. It's forever. You're going to take this or something else. Are you going to take Zepbound forever? Maybe not. But you're going to be taking something. You're going to be taking something because you have obesity. Okay? Or your weight's going to go up. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. So, there's that. Um, so, like that's really a thing. Like, these are the things that I think that people just like keep getting misinformed, across the airways, with. And I need to also, you know what I mean, like there's something else, right? With that, to that conversation. Now, some people are married, some people are not. Some people are engaged, some people have boyfriends, girlfriends, and a lot of times you want to keep the peace, right? And I understand that, right? And I understand that. Among the lowest paid in the nation regarding average salary. So yeah, that's my fear, not considering myself a lifer. Um, well, Grace, look at it this way, right? I feel like if you speak it and you name it and claim it, it will become a reality, right? There's a lot of power in your voice, right? So if you speak that, or if you speak that over yourself, I think that if you want to actually be able to keep and maintain your coverage, I think it can happen if you claim it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a Christian and I believe that God doesn't make mistakes, and he'll keep your path clear and allow you to actually continue and keep your medication because he knows you need it. So right now you have it. So I will focus on today and not necessarily tomorrow. But the thing is, how I feel, like I said, about where I was going with it is, as an influencer, especially, right? As an influencer, especially, you can't get on these airways and not have your house in order, right? And what I mean by not have your house in order is you cannot, you cannot be on here, you know, preaching to others and leave your family behind. You can't leave your family behind, you know. And what I mean by that is, there are others that have significant others who are well into this journey, and your significant other is not necessarily in the most healthy spot. And I'm gonna tell you, we going it's gonna be some furniture rearranging around here. If my significant other is in an unhealthy space and not getting healthy, right along with me, because we're a team, you know, and I'm not leaving, my wife behind. But I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen people leave their family behind. You getting on here, you influencing, and then you getting on here and you showing pictures of you and your spouse, and your spouse is clearly in danger. Your spouse is clearly in danger. Now, I'm not saying that the conversation that I'm not privy to didn't happen, because it could. I'm talking about those that may not have. And what I mean is, you've been on this journey for well over a year and a half or so, and you done changed your life, but yet and still, your spouse is in a dangerous situation. Now, again, you can't force anybody, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna be spending every waking moment, if I truly care about getting them where they gotta go, because I can't be on these medications getting healthy and I'm leaving you behind. That's just not fair. Right. And I'm saying this again. Let me go back to the beginning of it. I said, if you're an influencer, I'm not getting on these airways influencing others, and I don't have my house in order. My house got to be in order. And I mean that because I'm seeing it. You know, you cannot get on here and your spouse is unhealthy and you're influencing the rest of the world, and you leaving them behind unhealthy and all. And again, you can't control that spouse, but I'm gonna tell you, you got more power than you think if you really try. If you really try and you don't give up. Because let me tell you something. If my wife ain't healthy, I don't got time to talk to y'all. I ain't got time to talk to you. I'm not gonna be down here influencing, because guess what? Right now I'm gonna be still talking to her, all in the grill. Because I'm telling you, you can't do that. It don't look right. It don't look right. We're not getting on here taking pictures, and you're super morbidly, obese, and I'm in the best shape of my life. Taking pictures, and are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No way. Now again, the people that are trying, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the ones who are actually getting on here, right? Who are influencers. Again, don't take what I'm saying out of context. I'm not talking about the layperson who just don't know what to do. But I'm not getting on here taking my time influencing you, and I'm not telling my significant other what needs to happen with them. And I'm not saying that that significant other shouldn't be taking it into their own hands and all, like all of the tough talk. I know about all that. They should do it themselves and do all that, but some won't. But if I'm gonna take my time and influence the world, I got to make sure my house in order. And guess what? We step together. We are one. So since we won, we need to look like it. We're not going to be half-assing, and I'm out here, looking all good, and my spouse is in danger of dying. And I'm not talking about vanity, right? Where people talking about, the those looks, you know what I'm saying, of the flat stomach and the big boobs and the butt and or the guys with the flexing all the muscle. I'm not saying all that. I'm talking about health. I'm just talking about health. I'm not talking about people, with the sexualizing it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm literally talking about people's health, where they are so overweight, where at any moment they might not wake up. That's who I'm talking to. And you can't be no influencer getting on here trying to influence somebody, because ain't nobody gonna take you serious. Nobody. Not me. I'm not subscribing. I don't want to hear nothing you gotta say, and you can't preach to me because you're not taking care of your house. Because your house is number one. And I seen it too many times. You got these people getting on here and their spouse look a mess. And I'm talking about weight. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. And it's crazy. You can't be no influencer getting on here influencing people, and you letting your spouse, leaving your spouse behind like that. You can't do it. You can't do it. I don't have time to be on YouTube and taking pictures. What am I taking pictures of? What am I celebrating? My wife or my husband is at the brink of death. They cannot wake up tomorrow because of their health. And I'm on here preaching to you. Oh no, I ain't got time for it. So that's just my thing. Like, you know what I mean? While I'm not a disrespectful person, I'm not gonna say that to them, but just know people see that and it looks crazy. You getting on here telling everybody how to help themselves, and ain't helping your own husband or wife. That's crazy. I ain't gonna get all into other family members, but I'm saying who you're supposed to be equally yoked with if you have a significant other. So there's that. You know what I mean? I want to get too, go too far with that, but I mean, that's just something that I felt like, is really touching, because I know these people have children. You got children and all of that, and you sitting around here flexing your muscle, and your wife looking crazy. And your wife looking crazy. That don't make no damn sense. You know what I mean? It's absolutely crazy to me. And it's just not respectable. It's not respectable. You are less of a man, or woman, if you're allowing that. It just can't happen. I just don't understand the dynamic of some households. I just don't. I really don't. So, um, yeah, and you know what though? Honestly, Felicia, I'm not even saying extended family. I'm literally just talking about a significant other, right? Because you can't save everybody. You can't save everybody. I'm not expecting us to save everybody. You getting on here being an influencer is when you're trying to save everybody. I'm literally talking about your significant other. Period. If we are a married couple, right, and we're equally yoked and we're married under God, right, if you're a Christian, even in other religions, right, and we are one, right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not telling you to save the world. That's why I want people to, I'm not talking about mom, dad, grandmom, all the cousin, uncle. No. When I'm talking like this, I'm talking about your spouse, girlfriend, fiance, whatever that is, or your children. I'll say the same thing for your children, but that's it. Because I'm talking about in your household, period. 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 That's all. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just what it is. Like, because mom, dad, and all that, they got to do what they're gonna do, because at the end of the day, mom and dad pretty much have authority over you because they birthed you. So I'm not gonna tell you to, be able to, you can influence them, but you can't, have as stern a conversation probably, with them, and they're and for the most part, for a lot of people, not within your household. Some might be, and if that's the case, then so be it. But if they're not in your household, then so be it. I mean, your significant other that's in your household or your children, you have dominion over that, and you got to do what you got to do. And I'm doing a disservice if I get on here and not say nothing about it or not touch it. And that's what I mean about when I say content for the channel. It's organic. I don't need to, sit and come up with a script because I see enough. I see enough to address every week, and I feel like it needs to make sense. Now, every time I get on here, it's not as deep. Sometimes I get on, I'm just talking about myself and my journey and my wife and this, that, and the third, and just current events. But if it has ebbs and flows, it has ebbs and flows. But I tell you what, this is a real channel, and I talk about real stuff. You know what I mean? I talk about real stuff. And when I talk medically, I try to make sure I'm giving you fact. So when I'm talking about something personally or spiritually, I try to make sure I'm giving you fact through lived experience. Period. Period. So hopefully people see the value in that. So there's that. Like I said, I'm here every Sunday night, pretty much between 7:30, 8 o'clock. I usually try to get into other people's lives, make sure I'm supporting y'all. Probably see me a little bit of everywhere. And I try to come back with, fresh content every week based on what I seen, talk about my week. Like I said, I had a very good week. I'm back at it. You know what I mean? You see my shorts. I'm back walking. I'm back, resistance training. I did resistance training this past what was it? Um uh uh yeah, I had basically went back to my walking this week. I did resistance training yesterday. I'm paying for it because I am pretty sore, you know what I mean? But I'm doing all the things because I want to get my last 25 pounds off, recomp, and just hold maintenance, and just what does maintenance look like for me? Because please make sure you have subscribed to this channel. Please make sure you have liked this channel. Please make sure you hype this channel. Please make sure you actually tell people about this channel because we over here and this is where you get it raw, real, and uncut, right? For those that came in late, I actually recovered my colonoscopy. I had a colonoscopy and I talked about the prep, so you can go back and see all of that. I talked about my wife's week. I talked about my week. We covered some topics around the community. We talked a little bit about clicks, and again, yeah, I think I cut myself off, but yeah, we have seen clicks. We do know they exist. Sometimes those with those bigger channels. And now me, we're having a channel so small, not even 1,000 followers. A big channel to me is somebody that got 5,000. You know what I mean? So somebody that got 5,000, to me, I feel like sometimes they could, probably inquire and then reach back. Like Vanity said when she was talking to Paul, there's no way you're telling me you don't see the topics or our channels. You know what I mean? And everybody else sees it. You do see it, but do you actually I don't really see those people, coming in here and saying anything in any of my lives, at all. I did frequent a lot of those channels before, but I don't as much. I do sometimes, but I actually go to a lot of the smaller people channels, those with like, let's say 2,000 or less. You know what I mean? Those 5 and 10,000, yeah, I don't go to them too much because I don't think and again, again, it's just about like Paul said, spread the love, spread the wealth, each one reach one and teach one, each one teach one and just spread the love around so that way we all can grow. You know what I mean? But hey, at the end of the day, for a lot of them, it's business and they monetizing. So I understand it. But to all the real, appreciate y'all for hanging out and coming to the channel. I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick and see if I missed anything because I always like to do that. And make sure I didn't like not answer a certain question. So if you have any questions, make sure you put Q's in the chat. Because I know I covered a lot. So if you have anything that you would like to ask, make sure you put the Q's in there. So before we get off, I can make sure I answer it. But I'm gonna shoot back to the beginning of the chat and then I'll quickly scroll through to see if I missed anything. Okay. I don't think I did because I was pretty interactive. I was kind of watching. I know y'all was talking a lot about other things, which happens. Oh, y'all was busy in here tonight. Y'all was busy. Y'all was busy. I see all of this stuff. I did Cologuard results were negative. Should I do a colonoscopy? That was positive T. Yeah, positive T. Do the colonoscopy, man, because I feel like it's just more. Cologuard is not. It's not the result isn't guaranteed. I definitely applaud you for taking that first step, but I feel like a colonoscopy is more. I mean, think about it. The people are taking the camera and looking inside. You know what I mean? So you actually get that 100%. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go for it. He says he's gonna go for good. We're under storm too. So that's they talking about the storm. Be safe. Okay, everybody talked about the storm. Let me stop this so it stops shaking. Uh, ribeyes, stressful. Talked about the dog. We getting hellos. Grant was at 224, 371. That's what her messing with the guy 371 about whether he joined it, whether he subscribed because my wife picture is now my thumbnail. I put my wife picture up there just so y'all know. So that way it's more approachable. And some guy, I guess 371 had came in and said he was a new subscriber. And Grace was like, did he do it because of your wife picture? And my wife's like, not sure who the woman is. Take it down. Grant Paul and Vanity's live stream. He came from Paul and Vanity's live stream. Be like Medea with the calculator. Okay, losing the grades. Yeah, I think I got mostly everybody. Talked about the BMI. Yep, and Grace said 40 pounds, not 63. That's right, Grace. That's all you need to lose. Maybe 35, 40 pounds, not 63. You are exactly right. Please do not try to get to a 24.9. That's silly. That's so silly. You do not need to be at 24.9. 27 is where most people aim if y'all want a number. If you got to put a number on it, 27 should be the BMI that you aim for. That is from an obesity surgeon, not G's. That is not from G's. That is from an obesity, 30-year, well-respected obesity surgeon that has done surgery on tons and tons and tons and tons of people. So a lot of yeah, a lot of conversation. Yeah. So if there's any questions, like I said, put them in the chat with the cues. Yeah, I haven't really seen much. So before we get out of here. I did Cologuard a couple years ago and a colonoscopy this summer. Yeah, so like I said, my mom's because I was 40, I'm 45 and I wanted to just do the right thing. I do, like I said, have my heart ultrasound. That's like the last thing that I need to get done. And I'm gonna get that done next Monday. So and then I can actually conclude my whole thing with that. But this has been an amazing live tonight. I do appreciate everybody that actually stopped by and hung out with me. This is probably like the second largest live. I haven't had like this. What we had like up to like 17 in here tonight. I think the largest one I ever had was like 22. That was way back. I think probably right after I did the downsize interview, and then I did have some people coming in spamming, but I kind of fixed that. So I do appreciate this being one of the larger ones. Everybody that participated, everybody that liked it, everybody that keep coming and hanging out with me. And the future of this channel is strong because I feel like I said, I usually try to drop jewels on people that's useful, things that actually will help your life and might help you, on your journey. I like to remember that everybody is at a different space. We're not all at the same space, so we don't have to worry about, necessarily getting to the point where, like I said, once you lose 100 pounds, it gets kind of boring to get on and keep saying the same thing. But guess what? Somebody just lost 1 pound today, and I like to also meet them where they at because this is a channel inclusive for everybody, not just for those that have already made it or feel like they made it. So sometimes we have to make sure, yes, 19 likes. Thank you. Appreciate that. But yes, I definitely want to make sure that we are making sure that we are actually meeting people where they are. And what is 27? I was talking about BMI. So when I said 27, I was saying that that's the BMI that I think that those that have been in an obese body for the majority of their life should aim for, not 24. Because most people are aiming for 24, which is overshooting their actual mark of where they probably should be for ideal. Ideal for people that are, and I did a short on this a few months back, and I got almost 1,000 views on that. it was about the appropriate BMI that people that suffered with clinic obesity should aim for, and that is 27, not 24, right? Which means that based on the regular BMI chart, you are going to be considered still overweight, not obese, but you will be considered overweight. However, when you actually get to 26.9, that particular marker, because people say, well, that's not healthy, right? Because what is healthy? What does the word healthy stand for in the BMI chart, right? The word healthy. What does that mean? Because we saying healthy is what you would meet when you get to 20, when you get to 24.9. What healthy is when you actually clear the percentage markers for those comorbidities and related cancers that come with having that kind of weight. Because overweight doesn't put you at the same risk factor as obesity does. And obviously, why you don't want to be well overweight, some overweight is not bad, right? For people that have been obese, as long as your health markers are good. So that's why your body does not actually look right for some people that actually get to that BMI, because when your body has been obese for so long, your structure actually grows with that, right? Your structure grows with that. My BMI was 43. My BMI was a 43 when I started. My BMI right now is a 30. I went from a 43 to a 30, right? And if I get where I want to go, I'll be at a 27, right? So that's that 28.9 right now for me. So you don't have far to go, Grant. So basically a 29. So that's what I'm saying. I already took all you got to do, Grant, is lose about 15 more pounds. You'll be all right. You know what I mean? Lose about 15 more pounds. You good to go. Me, I lose about 25 to get there. But yeah, you don't, Grant, that means you don't need to be 190. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna tell you, Grant, get the 190. You don't need to get the 190. So that's what I meant by that. All right, y'all. I don't want to hold y'all too long. I got all the questions out. I appreciate y'all. Like I always say, we're in this together. My obesity warriors, stand up. Good night.